I think a common question that our people, our viewers would have is what do I need to do to participate in a clinical trial?
Right. So my point of view is there's a very strict, every trial has a very strict, very narrow window through which you can squeeze in. So I think the first thing you need to do is the type of mesothelioma you have. Cellular type. Is that epithelioid? Is that mixed? Sarcomatoid? Those are like the number one information the patient needs to know. To say I have mesothelioma, but they really can't tell what the diagnosis is, no, it shouldn't be in a trial. You've got to have the diagnosis. That's number one. And that may require surgery. You know, that may require invasive procedures, I was telling you before. So that's number one. Number two is the patient needs to be aware that there's other treatment options. If the patient has been on a trial, usually does not prevent the patient to go into surgery multimodality therapy. We still take those patients. But if you're going to go on a trial, usually they don't want you to have the multimodality therapy. They want it out of the equation. So if the patient's going to go on a trial, they have to know their stage, their type of cell, right, mesothelioma cell, stage they are in, is that early versus late stage, stage 1 or 2 early, stage 3 or 4 late. But most importantly, we need to see the patient, see if they can tolerate surgery in multimodality. A lot of times they can't. And then a trial, it's different.
Thank you.
How are you making progress with sarcomatoid? I guess that's.
With what? I'm sorry.
Sarcomatoid?
That's a very good question. I did a patient, my very first patient here in Chicago with sarcomatoid mesothelioma, which again, he had 2 biopsies in an outside hospital. First a needle biopsy, then a core biopsy, then a VATS biopsy. They're all negative. They couldn't tell, necrotic tissue, blah, blah, blah. He came to me and said, I will not take a no for an answer until life is on the line. We have to do an open biopsy. I'm sorry to tell you that. You got to go to the OR. You got to have surgery, but I'm not taking that for an answer. Looks like meso, smells like meso, runs like meso, has all the colors of meso. You have meso until proven otherwise, and it was sarcomatoid. And it was high-grade sarcomatoid, and that's why it's so hard to treat sarcomatoid mesothelioma, because most of the cells, they are so aggressive that they will not even eat the carbotaxol. So we did surgery, and now he's going to get radiation therapy. So the progress, again, is aggressive surgery with sarcomatoid if you can, all the way in. For chemotherapy, we do have, interesting enough, we do have here, which I'm part of it, and we're just actually named the co-director, something, a sarcomatoid clinic that we see Thursday afternoon.
Wow. So,
right, I guess, anyways, they heard I do sarcomatoid surgery, they want me to be part of that. But, and I go to their clinic, to their meetings. Again, it's another different meetings, it's a multimodality. And it's kind of disheartening to see that they really are against the wall. They don't have a lot of chemotherapy options. They do have some. And the way we play this, if they give chemotherapy 2 rounds, if we see regression, I charge in. There's progression, then I'll step back, and then they try to figure out what's going on. But to answer your question, Allie, there really isn't, at this point, something that will jump us and say, oh, wow, this is a miracle drug. There isn't.
Oh, boy. Now, what about the new drugs, the new biologics? Are you having?
Well, yeah. So those are trials. That's going to take a while to really pan out. I think the work that Rafael Bueno is doing at the Brigham is it's leading the ground. He's breaking ground. It's a few years from now, but I have to tell you that it's close as it's ever going to get to determine the genetic material mutations, what we call epigenetics. Someone said, how much asbestos do I have to get mesothelioma? That's called an epigenetic factor, something that changes your DNA after you're born, like a grown-up person. And no one is doing more work on that than Rafael Bueno, but he's still 5 or 6 years away from actually getting someplace. So when I learned about that, and he and I talked about that several times, actually the last 3 months for other reasons that we've been in contact, he and I said, Raphael, I think it's still, that's great. It's the right direction, but it's not there yet. And he said, yeah, we're probably 5 to 6 years out before we come up with something that will make a difference in the mesothelioma world.
Mm.
But there's progress, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of progress.
Yeah, I think that's the message you got to get out.
Right. So there's a couple myths about mesothelioma patient, and I learned that, and people laugh at me when I say this. But one is you got to stay positive. You got to think positive. You have to understand there's hope, and you have to understand there's very intelligent, capable, and doctors all across the country, medical oncology, radiation oncology, surgeons. They're passionate for what they do. They all are. If you get in a table and they all want more chemo, all more radiation, more surgery because we're passionate for what we do. And there's a lot of people involved with that. I was at AATS in Toronto, and the group in Toronto are very strong with radiation pre-op, followed 2 weeks later with surgery. I'm going to adopt their protocol as well. So there's people really look into this. Another friend of mine from London, I should go visit him soon. He's got a different protocol with iodine. Of all the things, iodine is scrub in the chest. It's got great results. So I'm thinking, oh my golly, this is fantastic. People really going at it, and at some point we're going to find the answer for this.
Yeah. I think you will.